Hey guys, welcome to the Killing the Tea podcast. This is Gare,
And Kate.
and we are going to be discussing all things chills, thrills, and kills. Kate and I are going to be talking about our favorite books, TV shows, and movies that are in the thriller or crime fiction genre, as well as some reading habits and other items related to how we met on Bookstagram that will fit in with this podcast. So, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you have fun and get totally terrified.
So, one of the best, I'm saying it now, TV shows of 2022 was Severance on Apple TV.
Mhm.
Another, I'm sure it does consider itself sci-fi because it's again in the near future. And basically, these people work at an office and it is kind of strange. There's some strange parts about it, but they clock in and they work. And then when they leave, their severed part of their brain basically for work turns off, and then they have their personal life. So basically your brain, if you're working at this company, has been partitioned where you don't have to consciously experience what you're doing at work, and your work self doesn't know anything about your personal life. As you can imagine, it's a little problematic for the
Yeah.
characters. And so they're basically like the work version of the people doesn't even know anything about the personal version of themselves.
Hmm.
And then the best way to not spoil it is like they start to kind of get curious about it though, and curious about the weird work they're doing with like selecting numbers on the screen and deleting them when they have a feeling about the numbers. So
I need to make sure this is on my list. This.
it's amazing. And it's also a lot to keep track of. So do it when you're in the mood for that. Like you need mental energy
You would have been
for
really
it.
proud of me because I didn't pick up my phone once when I watched the first episode of White Lotus.
White Lotus is one same thing for me. Like I do not pick up my phone. It's
Well,
so good.
I did a little bit in the first season, but the reason I didn't
Mhm.
in the second one is because there's a lot of subtitles
There are.
because they're speaking Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
You
like,
kind of have to
damn,
pay
like they're
attention.
really forcing me to pay attention, but I like didn't
Mhm.
also like by the time I was like, well, you really need to pay attention. Like I was like, well, I don't even feel like picking up my phone.
Yeah, so don't pick up your phone while you're watching Severance either.
I won't.
It's
I
just, oh my gosh, it's so good. It is nine, there are 8 episodes. So it's about 8 hours of TV. And I watched it in the summer when Tyler was gone all day at a race, and I watched it straight through. And it's worth doing it that way. Oh my gosh, the twists are wild. But the book that it reminds me of a little bit is The Sleepless by Victor Manabo. And it is another near future sci-fi uh noir. I think he called it a sci-fi noir. Yeah, he did. And a speculative thriller as well. So in this near future, uh getting a shot of a medicine can change your brain enough that you no longer require sleep. So you don't have to opt into it. It's new. So like technically it's also like you don't know how safe it is. We don't know what the long-term effects are yet.
Mhm.
But you can have it or you cannot have it. And in that world, this journalist goes into work one day and finds his boss dead. Um and he's like it just doesn't make any sense. Like he had no reason to think this was even about to happen. So he starts to try to unravel what happened there. But some of the like cool side parts of the story is that it like examines how like even so, if we all didn't have to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
if you could choose that or not choose it, the people who choose to do it start to have a leg up because they can work more. And so then like it examines all of the like economic complications of like kind of our obsession with capitalism and how we would just always think more, more, more. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another similar Severance theme, actually. So yeah, that one, it's definitely different than Severance, but it reminded me of it in those themes.
Damn, girl.
Yeah. And I interviewed Victor on Between the Lines. So if you want to hear him talk about it, I'll put the link in the bio
That's awesome.
or in the show notes. We're not on Instagram right now.
um, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to no one's surprise ever,
I
I'm going to talk about Miss Ashley Winstead.
love when we get to talk about her.
In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife is one of my favorite books in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you have not read it, I said watched it. Um, if you have not read it, it is about a woman who returns to her the college that she graduated from for her 10-year reunion. And she just kind of wants to show everybody that she is not the girl that she was when she graduated. So she's going to reunite with her friends, but the only thing is that 10 years ago, before they graduated, her best friend was murdered, and they never really found out who did it. One person in their friend group was accused but found innocent. So then when they reunite, they basically want to find out who did it. And whoever did do it is kind of watching them and keeping their eye on them as a group.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the best books that I've ever read. This is not a spoiler, but obviously her friend is murdered, and you find out what happened to the friend that was murdered. So in the end of the book, I'm not going to say who did it, but you find out, you kind of find that out. And when I read this, I was talking to um Ashley Winstead, and I was like, have you ever seen the movie Black Christmas? Because there is a death scene in this movie Black Christmas that reminds me of this particular death scene. And she's like, no, I've never heard of it. And I was like, you have to watch it. So if you liked In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, if you like the
Mm-hmm.
dark academia, the tight-knit friend group, um the creepiness, the somewhat stalker kind of element to it, I recommend Black Christmas. It is one of my favorite movies in the entire world. It is one of the creepiest movies in the entire world. But please do not watch one of the remakes, because it was remade twice and they both suck. So watch the one from 1974. It is about a group of sorority girls during Christmas break who are stalked by a stranger, and that's all I'm going to say.
Ooh,
But it is one of my favorite movies. The guy who did the movie is the one that also did A Christmas Story, like
really?
with Ralphie. Yeah, I mean, he's got like some sort of like Christmas thing that he like loves,
Yeah.
but he
Just
was like,
different genre or
I'm gonna
different
do a
version.
family movie, I'm gonna do a horror
Yeah.
movie, like. But yeah, it's one of those. It's actually, I read somewhere that this is the movie that inspired John Carpenter to make the movie Halloween, because it came out 4 years before Halloween did.
Oh, yeah.
So, Black Christmas, Dark Academia, that, tight knit friends with like the sorority girls. It's really creepy. It's not cheesy. It's not like one of those like campy horror movies that like you're like, that's so dumb. Like, it's just unsettling and really, really good. So that
There
is
you have it, people.
my recommendation. And it's almost Christmas. So I watch it
Right.
every year. I watch it every year around Christmas. It's like Home
I love
Alone, The
it.
Holiday, and Black Christmas.
You hit up all the genres.
Little romance, little comedy, little scary.
Yeah. There's
So yeah.
some there's some like slashery Santa movie coming out this year. Now I can't think of the name, but there
Um,
is a slashery Santa movie.
it has David Harbour from Stranger Things.
Yes.
Yeah. My dad asked me about it today. I think it's like only in the theaters though. I don't think it's like streaming yet, which is kind of
Yeah,
annoying.
it's in theaters. Violent Night.
Violent Night. Yeah. I heard
There we
it's
go.
really good. I heard it's really
Oh,
entertaining.
really?
Hmm.
I hadn't heard anything. We just saw the trailer a couple weeks ago.
I saw someone on TikTok that was like, you should watch here like the Christmas themed scary movies that you should watch
Ooh, I like that.
this season. So I'll have to send you that TikTok because I bookmarked it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to
So I
watch
have
those.
all the recommendations. And Black Christmas is on it because every
Of
horror fan
course.
in the entire world loves Black Christmas, but it's like
Oh, yeah.
an undiscovered gem.
I'm excited.
Hmm. Hmm. And Margot
So,
Kidder's in it.
ooh.
She played Lois Lane in like the Superman movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's amazing and she's funny and I love her. So,
So, Dead to Me on Netflix,
oh,
which, it sounds, I say I'm making something less scary and then I say dead to me, but
so good.
it is this perfect dark comedy with Christina Applegate and Linda Cardellini, and also, cool fact, produced and kind of written by Adam McKay and Will Ferrell. Um, yeah,
Will
that is the
Ferrell is involved with Dead to Me.
yeah,
How the
he's
fuck
one of
did
the
I not
main
know that?
writers. Yeah.
He's one of the main writers.
Mm-hmm. And then
Oh my God.
Adam McKay and Will Ferrell produce a lot of stuff together. So they did that movie Vice about Cheney. Cheney.
Okay. Yeah.
So they've done some movies that were really good, and then they did Dead to Me.
Okay. Is Adam McKay the guy from Big Little Lies? Reese Witherspoon's husband?
No,
No.
this is a like film director guy.
Okay, so he's not an actor.
He's not an actor.
Okay, then. All right. What am I
He's
thinking?
done he did Don't Look Up, Vice, and then he also has done Anchorman, Step Brothers, and the other guys. So he has range.
Yeah,
Um,
damn, I'd say so.
but Dead to Me is about the main character, Christina Applegate's character. Her husband dies in a hit and run accident, and obviously very unexpected when that's how someone
Mm-hmm.
dies. So
Yeah.
her whole life is like blown up. She has like no clue how to like interact with her kids while she's grieving. Like everything's crazy. And so she starts going to what is that? A grief support group,
Yeah.
and meets Linda Cardellini's character, because I told you all I don't remember names. So she meets
Judy.
her. What?
Jen and Judy.
There you go. You remember all of them. So helpful. Um, she meets her at a grief support group, and they become really good friends, really close friends, and they're very different, but like enjoy each other. And then they have to start kind of unraveling some of the mystery behind her husband's death, because there's some stuff going on that she didn't know about.
Mhm.
So it's like twisty, turny,
Funny.
it's very funny. It made me realize I don't read as many funny books, because I couldn't think of a version that was like as funny as this show is, but it is like two strong, funny, unconventional female leads together.
I want to be like
Um,
Christina Applegate's character when I grow up.
I know.
I love how bitchy and funny she is.
I do too. She is a vibe. She's a whole
Hmm.
vibe. But there's lots of twisty stuff, and then they're also trying to figure out a whole con that was being played on one of them, is all I'm going to say. So, cons, twists, awesome women. The book that I would recommend is The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. So, also a story of, I want to make sure I don't spoil anything that isn't in the synopsis, but it's another thing where like two women are having two kind of intense experiences and then cross paths, and there's like lots of twists and turns in the way the story is told, and you're also just
Mhm.
like kind of confused the whole time trying to figure it out, and then at the end you're like, whoa, the way it all comes together. And that part is what feels similar to Lie to Me for me.
Dead to me.
Dead to Me, not Lie to Me. Lie to Me is a different show.
Um, I love that because I love that book and I also
Mm-hmm.
love Dead to Me, and
Mm-hmm.
the comparison in the two is spectacular. So
Thank you. I
you
was kind of
fucking
proud of that one.
you fucking crushed that one. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I wholeheartedly agree. Um, because do you have okay, so the only reason I'm gonna say this is because mine is like my next picks are like a pyramid scheme.
A pyramid scheme? Okay.
I have like one suggestion and then it like crosses off into like two.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to
Oh, you want me to
accept
just say my other one?
accept the praise and then just continue on like on a roll, Kate the
Yeah.
Great and
Yeah.
the recommendation, that was fucking solid. I'm gonna give
Thank
you like a
you.
lot of props. Like I would have never thought about that, but then when you
Yeah.
did the comparison, I'm like, damn, that was fucking good.
Thank you. I really did think kind of hard about that one because I knew I didn't read any books that were as funny and twisty this year. So I was like, it's going to have to be something different.
I have one.
You do? Ooh,
If you
tell us.
like the comedy in Dead to Me,
Yes.
you should read Look What You Made Me Do by Elaine Murphy.
Okay. I know
It
that's on my
it is
list.
about two sisters. One of them is like, I want a calm, boring, normal lifestyle as an introvert to just like work and come home and like live my life. And then the other one is just kind of like the wild sister.
Mm-hmm.
And but the wild sister is a serial killer. So she will call
Mm-hmm.
her sister and be like, okay, like you need to help me move this sofa. And like that's code for like, come help me hide this body.
Yep.
And so they go, they bury this body, like, and her sister always has like some sort of excuse for like the people she kills.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so then, you know, the sister that's like, I just want a normal life is watching the news and realizes that the police have uncovered a dead body in the forest that she and her sister had just buried somebody in. And
Mm-hmm.
then they're like, breaking news, we just found 12 more bodies or however many. And she calls her sister and she's like, what the hell? Like, we only buried one. And she's like, the sister's like, those are not people I killed. So she and her sister realize that there's another serial killer in their small town and also somebody that could have possibly been in the woods that watched them bury this body. But it is so good and it's the humor in it is very reminiscent of Dead to Me.
You, so I actually had read that, and the sequel, I told you this would happen, and you are so right. The humor is amazing. It was like the funny serial killer book that I read this year.
Yeah, yeah. The
That
sequel's
is
so
such a
good
good
too.
recommendation.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
loved it.
love that book so
Yeah.
much. And I love the sequel. And I
Yes.
loved like the contrast, like kind of like Dead to Me, where it's like the drama, the suspense, and then like the relationship between the two sisters is so funny.
Yes, it really is.
Hmm.
I also interviewed Elaine about, I told you this would happen. So I'll put that link as well in
Yeah,
case
she's
anyone
awesome.
reads it and wants to hear about it. Yeah, she's really cool.
I love her.
So my other TV recommendation, well, the TV show that I thought of a book for is Cruel Summer, which is a Hulu show. And
I I love Cruel Summer so much.
it is so good. It is just so good. It's amazing. So basically the popular blonde girl is abducted in like a really small town. And then kind of like the girl who was really a little dorky and like didn't quite find her place socially in school starts to kind of get cool and then is starting to kind of be really good friends with all of that girl's friends.
Hmm.
And you're just kind of like watching it happen while everyone's also panicking about where the missing girl is. Then you start getting flashbacks to what was happening leading up to her abduction and all of these like, so it's a big ensemble cast as
So
well.
good.
So many
So good.
stories start like crossing, and then like loyalties change and shift, and like right when you think you have it figured out, you don't have it figured out. And it's just really, it's really good
That
thriller television.
that final scene.
The final scene, like you can't argue with the fact that very few shows have a final 30 seconds that like smacks you in the face so much.
Yeah.
It delivers the punch. But the book that I would recommend, I should have been pulling this up. It is The Girls Are All So Nice Here by Lori Elizabeth Flynn. So similar in like the vibes of like, it's college age, so it's not high school, but it's still similarly dark
Hmm.
things that like young people and especially young girls are willing to do to each other, where it also kind of examines why girls end up feeling competitive that way too, like also how it's
I
like
love that book.
you also kind of can't help it, so you
Hmm.
have to like grow out of it basically. But it explores a lot of those same themes. Basically I think it is another college reunion where when they all go back, they're all kind of talking about the roommate who died when they were in school, and throughout the reunion and like people gossiping and talking about things in the present, and then you also get flashbacks to the past. You're on the journey to figure out what happened.
It's a really
My dog
fucking
just
good one.
walked in really loudly and I was like, whoa, hey.
That's okay. My microphone almost just fell off my desk.
Oh, she's running around. Yeah, so you're on the journey to figure out what really happened to Ambrosia.
I love that book.
Mm,
Love that book
it's
so much.
amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a
So
really
good.
good one. And Cruel Summer's so good.
They're both
And
so,
there's going to be a second season of Cruel Summer.
I know. I cannot wait.
It's going to be an anthology, right?
I think so.
Okay. Hmm. Yeah, that'll
Oh,
be
I
really
can't.
good.
That'll
Yeah.
be so good. It's another one that I have. I mean, I watch pretty, there's everything I watch, I have to watch all at once after it airs.
The girl, Kiara Aurelia, I believe her name
Mm-hmm.
is, from Cool Summer,
Yeah.
is going to be like the Hollywood it girl soon.
She is amazing. I
She's
remember
so
being so impressed.
she was so good in that. She was in one of the Fear Street movies,
Mm-hmm.
1978, and she was amazing in that. And she is
Yeah.
also fucking incredible in Luckiest
Yeah.
Girl Alive.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
she's had some difficult roles already and she like kills them.
yeah, yeah. And they're all very different.
Mm-hmm.
They're all very different, and
She's so good.
she's incredibly talented.
I agree.
I would love to see her and Jenna Ortega on something together. Just like young Hollywood just
Yes,
completely taking over.
I know. She seems so cool.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I'm
Um,
dedicated.
I love that. That was a very good recommendation. So my pyramid
Thanks.
scheme.
Now for the pyramid.
So one of my favorite movies in the entire world is The Witches of Eastwick.
Yes.
And if you haven't watched it, it is about three single friends whose lives changed drastically when a mysterious man moves into their town. And he kind of plays a significant role in all of their lives. And so
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. And one of my favorite books that I've read this year is about three friends whose lives change when a mysterious man moves into town. Now, this does
Mm-hmm.
not have any supernatural elements or anything of that nature, but it is My Summer Darlings by May Cobb. Um,
Yes.
so it's basically like that idea, like three friends, this guy moves into town, he's mysterious, they like kind of fall under his spell without it being supernatural or having any like
Mm-hmm.
witchy kind of aspect to it. Um, and the thing is, though, if you like The Witches of Eastwick, but you do not want the witchy aspect, and you like that domestic drama and
Mm-hmm.
things of Big Little Lies, then you'll like
Yes.
this book. Because in this book, you go back and forth between what happens when he came into town, and there are these interwoven chapters of a woman who is in a forest and knows that he's coming for her to kill her. So kind of like Big Little Lies, where like they talk about,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's a murder, somebody died, you don't know who it is or why, and that's like kind of this feel. Like I called My Summer Darlings like a bitchier, sexier version of Big Little Lies.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
So that is
It is so good. It's
one of
so
my
fun.
recommendations. Now, if you do like Witches of Eastwick and you like the supernatural witchy
Mm-hmm.
elements, and also possibly a fan of Law and Order SVU,
Mm-hmm.
then you should check out the book The Change by Kirsten Miller.
Mm-hmm.
It takes place in Long Island. Three different women discover that they have powers, all separate, like separate
Mm-hmm.
powers, whatever. Um, all different stages in their lives, basically, as to like what's going on. Um, and basically um one of them hears voices and discovers the body of a girl who's been killed, and her body was just like abandoned on the beach, and
Mm-hmm.
the police basically say like, oh, like that she basically happened this basically happened because she was a drug addict and a sex worker.
Right.
um but the women are like, no, like this did not happen. So they kind of use their powers
Mm-hmm.
to look into this murder and realize that there are more bodies. Um, and it kind of is like three women discover they have powers similar to the Witches of Eastwick, but they are looking into the murders of sex workers on Long
Mm-hmm.
Island and trying to figure out what's happening by using their powers to hunt down whoever's responsible for this. So that's why I think
Mm-hmm.
of like Law and Order SVU, but it is one of my favorite books
Yeah.
that I've read this year, and it was so good. And I don't usually like things like that.
Yeah. I need to read it because I similarly didn't read it, but
Yeah,
I read so many good
it's a
reviews, and
chunker.
so I almost read it.
I can't find it. It's probably hidden somewhere. But Yeah, it is so good. I think you would absolutely love it. I think it's
Nice.
like 500 pages. Like it's a big book, but it didn't feel like 500 pages when I was reading it.
Yeah. I love books like that actually,
So yeah.
because it feels like you experience so much with them, but you don't get bored.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm a fan.
I think it is incredible and it's one of my favorites of the year.
I love the cover too.
Oh, the cover is beautiful.
Yeah,
The cover is beautiful. I just can't wait to see what she does next too. Because
I
it's
know.
like when I read the synopsis and it was like, oh, I thought it was gonna be like a like little like maybe like practical magic or the witches of
Yeah.
Eastwick. And then when I got like further into it and like actually because I didn't really read the synopsis, they were like, do you want to read this book? And I was like, yeah, it sounds really cool. But then when
Mm-hmm.
I realized that they were like trying to figure out what happened to this like sex worker,
Mm-hmm.
um, or sex workers, and that there was this like crime that they were gonna solve, like I was like, this
Hmm.
is like you could take aspects of this and it would be a really good episode of Law and Order SVU, or you
That's
could
cool.
have this, book about three women realizing that they have like powers and how it changes their lives and how it affects it, and also like have that Witches of Eastwick vibe. So,
Which is kind of, is that like that? Was that Medium? Wasn't there a show where like someone did have powers and they helped solve cases
mm-hmm,
years
mm-hmm.
ago?
Patricia
I might be
Arquette. That
onto
was
something.
one of
Yeah.
the one of the best shows. I love that show.
Oh, really? I didn't watch it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so
Oh,
good.
that's good to know.
It's like a good it's like a good combination of like some episodes being kind of like creepy or like that like Law and Order, and then
Mm-hmm.
some of them are like a little more emotional and like heart like really like tug at your
Yeah.
heartstrings. But yeah, that's a really good show.
Nice.
Hmm.
I'm sure it's streaming somewhere.
Oh God, I hope so. Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
that's a really good show if anybody hasn't watched it. Although
Mm-hmm.
I guess the real Alison Dubois is not a very nice person.
Oh.
She was on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh yeah. I
She
forgot
had the
about that.
electronic cigarette and she was like telling Kyle like he will never fully satisfy you.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I saw her on something else too. What did they consult with? Alison Dubois. There's there's like a docu series I think on Peacock or something. They
Mm-hmm.
consulted Alison Dubois' help on the Mara Murray case. That's like one of those things that like the Mara Murray case is like one of those things that is like so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I also am like one of my biggest fears in life is
Mm-hmm.
dying not knowing what happened to Mara Murray or who was responsible.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's when things aren't solved, it's so frustrating to get really into them
Yeah.
because you're like, I'm still not gonna know.
Yeah. It's insane. Especially when it's like somebody's family out there wants answers.
Yeah.
I don't care when it's like a book or a movie and it has like oh, excuse me. When it has like a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care about that. Like that thing where it's like, oh, it's up to your interpretation. But like when it's like
Right.
something that like really happened, like Mara
Mm-hmm.
Murray and the Idaho quadruple homicide.
Yeah,
But maybe by the time this episode comes out, we'll know what happened to them, and the
that's
killer will be
true. We
brought to
might. We'll have
justice.
to like add a little thing at
Hmm.
the end.
It's all what that my TikTok is.
I it sounds like it.
It's all well, like the thing is too is like the house that they were killed in is like very like it's a weird setup,
Mm-hmm.
and they like said that the killer had went in through a sliding glass door on the second level of the house. And I have a sliding glass door on the second level of my house. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
every night, I'm like, probably lying awake in my bed for at least a half hour, wondering if I locked the sliding glass door.
That's terrible.
Because it appears that they had forgotten to do that, if if that's the case.
Yikes. We have
So
cameras everywhere, so we'll see if
you
anyone.
know, you know my thing about cameras.
I don't.
You don't.
Mm-mm.
So I want, what is it called? I think I've called this a ring light before, and you're like, Garrett, that's not what you put on your
Oh,
doorbell.
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The ring, like the
Ring.
doorbell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want one of those. However, right
I do know. Go ahead.
right now, my whole thing is if I go to bed at night and I'm like a little freaked out because I live in the middle of nowhere, like in between
Mhm.
like fields and woods and just
Nothingness.
creepy stuff, creepy dark. Right now I'm like, I can wake up in the morning and be like, anything that freaked you out the night before was a figment of your imagination. It was you being paranoid because your TikTok is full of things related to this quadruple homicide in Idaho and you live in New York. Like, you are a 35-year-old man living in New York. No one is looking for you. Like, you could have all your doors, like, you got all your doors open and you're going to be safe. So, right now, like, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, if you were freaked out the night before, it's a figment of your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But if I got a ring cam or whatever they're called, I would
Yes.
fucking lose it if I actually did look at the footage the next day and I saw something suspicious.
Mm-hmm. I
Like,
know.
it would be like I would be calling the police. I would be calling a contractor and having like a moat built around my house
Yeah.
with a lot of alligators.
I was gonna say, what
Um,
are you gonna put in it?
I would just put alligators in it. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what I would have. I would have. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. If it was my decision, it would be like all the terrifying things, but
Dinosaurs.
then I like would be like having to like email people or rebuy
Mm-hmm.
things because I'd be like, thank you for sending me a copy of this book. Oh, my, sweatshirts from Abercrombie came in, but my alligators ate my mail. So I would
Yeah,
just,
that
I
would
don't know.
be unfortunate.
I don't know. Isn't that like a Stephen King book where it's like under the dome and there's like a big dome over like something?
Yeah.
That would be my ideal thing, would be having a dome go over my
Okay.
house that nobody could get into.
Yep.
And the only thing that I would be afraid or nervous about is that if somebody snuck their way into my house during the daytime when the dome was down, that would be the only thing that would creep me out.
Yeah.
But if it were up to me, I would have a dome over my head. Like when the sun goes down, the dome goes up
Yeah.
and I'm well
You get
protected.
safe.
Mhm. Like, even when I, no, even when I used to like go out with friends and stuff, I always had like the saying, like, nothing good happens after midnight. And like
Mm-hmm.
now it's like nothing safe happens once the sun goes down. I am on full alert.
I just
Like,
still happen to not go out, so maybe I would be more nervous if I did.
I feel like if anybody saw me, like, I don't think I'm gonna pick up a stalker going out to dinner on Thursday nights with my friends
No, probably not.
because they're just gonna like see my behavior and like, oh, look at that guy drinking the club soda with like a little bit of cranberry juice in it and like getting the same sandwich to go every single week.
You just roasted yourself.
Like, wow, he's exciting. I should probably follow him home. But then they would like get so bored that they would fall asleep on the way home. So, like, I'm not worried about picking up a stalker when I'm outside of my house. I'm just worried about weird things because of the theories that I get on TikTok.
Yeah, I get that.
Like some people are like, oh, like, I bet you the killer, like, was standing outside of the house, waited for them to go to sleep, saw the lights go out, and then snuck in. And then there are other
Ugh.
people that are like, I 100% believe that this person that committed this crime was already in the house waiting for them when they got home and like waited for
Mm-hmm.
them to go to sleep and then struck. So, like,
Yeah.
those are my two biggest things. Like, I feel a lot better when I go to bed thinking I know everything is locked up. So like somebody would
Yeah.
have to have a high gadget to break in,
And a big desire to break in.
or something that they could pick locks with,
Yeah.
and hopefully I would hear something. But
I think you would.
I want a dome.
Let's patent it.
That's all I want is a dome. Could you imagine just
It
how,
would be nice. We
I
feel
don't
so
know.
safe.
I wonder if maybe I wonder if maybe daytime crime would increase if we all had domes,
And that's a good question.
you know? Because like right now people are like, oh, like it's creepy at night when it's
Right.
dark and that's when you think crimes happen. But then like, could you
Mhm.
imagine just like mowing your lawn and having like being robbed? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
I
what
don't
other,
feel like I look all wealthy enough to rob.
you know what? I'm, I don't know. I don't think that you don't look wealthy
What?
enough to rob, but I'm also not going to say don't worry because that's also going to be like insulting. If you're like, I don't look wealthy enough, and I'm like, yeah, you don't have anything to worry about.
You can
but
agree
I'm also,
with me.
but I'm also no, because I don't think that you don't look wealthy enough to rob. But I also don't want to make you like what's I don't want to make
Paranoid.
you I don't want to make you paranoid by being like, okay, like there's some guy out there who's probably homeless that like you look like the like
I know. I know.
you know what I mean? Like you look like Paris Hilton too.
Oh my gosh, that made me think of the TikTok audio that's like, so you think I'm skinny? When you said I look like Paris Hilton's him.
There's always somebody out there that's going to be
You're right. You're
richer
completely
or
right.
poorer than you.
Hmm.
There's always I think there's always also going to be somebody out there that's envious of what you have no matter what it is, you know,
Oh yeah.
to kind of
I mean, especially
contradict
when you're as
earlier
awesome as us. So
Abby, and to kind of like contradict how you're like it doesn't take a lot to make us happy,
yeah.
but whatever we have that makes us happy, there could be somebody out there who wants what we have that makes us happy.
No,
Dum,
you're
dum,
right.
dum. Hopefully I don't get murdered in my sleep between now and next week
Well,
when we
yeah.
record, because
Yeah.
obviously that would suck. But like, could you imagine if like that was my last podcast?
It'd be really sad.
He wanted a dome. He knew this. Listen, if I ever get murdered, I want this to be another PSA
You're
for
full of
any.
PSAs tonight.
I have so much to tell the world.
You really do.
I want a PSA. If I ever get killed, I don't care. If I like get into a car accident and I die, if I
Hmm.
like if a I don't know, if I get like a bird flu or something and I die, or if I'm brutally
Hmm.
murdered, I don't want anybody to lie to somebody. If somebody from the news contacts you or they make a documentary about me or whatever the case may be, please don't tell people that I was like loved by all.
Or the life of the party.
No, I was not the life of the party. I was the first one to leave the party.
I so agree with
Don't
you.
tell people that I like lit up the room when I walked in, because chances are when I walk into a room, there's somebody in that room that I'm going to be like and give the finger to.
That was the next one I was gonna say. He really lit up a
He
room.
really lit up every room he walked. No, I didn't. I snuck
I
into a
agree.
room, or I tried to like get into a room without as with little attention as possible.
Yeah,
I
that's
am
been my
not
goal in life.
a bright, shining star.
Mm-mm.
I have a bad mouth, a sarcastic sense of
Yeah.
humor,
Yep. Me
and a
too.
pessimistic outlook on life.
This is why we have
So
so many things in common.
tell tell the truth. Because if I die
I
and
agree.
somebody's like, oh my God, he was just so nice. And he lit up the room every time he walked in, and everybody just loved him. I can't imagine who would kill him. If anybody says that, I am going to haunt you for the rest of your life. And I'm not going to be a scary ghost when I do it. I'm going to be an inconvenient ghost. Like,
That is a nice distinction.
all your K cups are going to be missing. All of your food will be freezer burnt.
Your shampoo will just like run out every single day.
I will change the settings on your washing machine so that all of your clothes shrink when you wash them.
That one's really savage.
Yeah, I will be
Inconvenient ghost.
inconvenient ghost.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
new thing.
Yep. So
I
just
love it
remember
though.
that if I'm ever
Yeah,
butchered.
I mean my biggest thing, one of my biggest things in life is that I hate fakeness.
Mm-hmm.
And so after I die, please do not be fake. If you hated me, like tell people you hated me.
I'm not gonna ever say that I hated
Well,
you.
not you.
I'm gonna be like, she was the
The
fucking
world in
best.
general.
I'm gonna be like,
Yes.
she had the nicest bangs I've ever seen.
When they were under control.
She always told me that I was right.
I do tell you that a lot.
We had everything in common, and she was a sarcastic little shit, and I
Except
love her.
pizza. Yeah.
Yeah, what are your favorite pizza toppings again? Like,
I just like pepperoni or bacon or chicken, even like a barbecue chicken one. But
okay,
you like olives,
I do.
black olives.
I do. I like black olives. I love green peppers, pineapple. Yeah. I don't
Yeah, I don't
like
eat any of those.
I don't like the black olives from Pizza Hut. They have like a weird smoky flavor.
Yeah.
Like they were like cooked in like a grill.
That would
So
be really strange.
it was I'm not a fan. No, I will not do that ever again.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to follow us on Instagram so that you can keep up with everything we're reading and talking about. You can follow Gare at Gare Indeed Reads, and you can follow me, Kate, at The Girl with a Book on the Couch.